I'd like to declare this regular meeting of the Coralville City Council to order on May 28, 2019. Roll call.
Councilmember Foster.
Present.
Gross. Gill.
Present.
Dodds.
Present.
Goodrich.
Okay, we have 3 council members present, which is a majority, a quorum, along with the mayor and city clerk and city administrator, city attorney, and several staff members in the audience. Councilmember Gross is coaching in the men's or boys state tennis tournament, hopefully indoors or someplace where it's not like it is outside here. And Councilmember Goodrich is with family on an extended memorial vacation down in Texas. So they send their regards. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gill, seconded by Dodds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I have 3 proclamations tonight. It was suggested I add a 4th, that something to the tune that proclaim that we have enough rainfall in this area. But I'm not sure the big guy could have made it tonight to accept it. So, but I do have 3 proclamations. I'll just read them in the order that they're listed on the agenda. And the first one is has to do addressing hunger awareness. City of Coralville proclamation. Whereas hunger and poverty are issues of grave concern in the United States, state of Iowa, and in the city of Coralville. Whereas 1 in every 8 Coralville adults is food insecure. And whereas 1 in every 5 Coralville children live in food insecure households. And whereas this community continues to work towards developing hunger relief resources and capacity to meet the needs of children, youth, and families who are hungry in our community. And whereas the Coralville City Council is committed to taking steps to raise awareness about the need to combat hunger in every part of our community and to provide additional resources that citizens of Coralville need. Now therefore, I, John A. Lundell, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of Coralville, do hereby proclaim June 6, 2019 to be Hunger Awareness Day in Coralville and urge all citizens to support the Coralville Community Food Pantry in its quest to build a stronger, healthier, and hunger-free community. Signed this 28th day of May 2019, John A. Lundell, Mayor. We have John Bowlers from the Coralville Food Pantry here, along with many of his board members. So whoever would like to come up and receive the proclamation and say a few words.
Can we all post our quick photos on this?
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah,
Okay, are we ready? Have you been through the Sherry Crowd photo experience? All right, we're going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here we go. All right. You know what, I want to take, wait a second. We'll take one for our, we'll take one for our, could we take one for our media person too? It's always nice to have those. Don't get them done. Yes, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's good. Okay, thank you.
And I'm John Bowler, Executive Director of the Coralville Community Food Pantry. But thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Councilors, and City staff for continuing to draw attention to the issue of hunger in our community. 10 years ago, a group of visionary leaders in our community came together to start a food pantry here in Coralville. And since our doors opened in 2009, the Coralville Community Food Pantry has provided 1.9 million pounds of food to nearly 9,000 Coralville residents. That's a lot. But this has been possible thanks to the generous support of a compassionate and generous community, as well as the leadership of our locally elected officials and city staff. So your continued prioritization of hunger relief efforts have not gone unnoticed, whether it's providing us a space, a physical space for which we can operate our services, or provide vital funds year after year. It's truly making a difference. So on behalf of the Coralville Community Food Pantry board, staff, volunteers, and members, I want to say thank you. We look forward to continuing to partner with you to ensure that all of our neighbors routinely have the food that they need and deserve. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, John. Thank you, everyone associated with the food pantry. Okay, the second proclamation has to do with Gun Violence Awareness Day. Whereas every day 100 Americans are killed by gun violence, and an average there are nearly 13,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas Americans are 25 times more likely to be killed with guns than people in other high-income countries. Whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from people with dangerous histories. And whereas mayors and law enforcement officers know their communities best, are the most familiar with local criminal activity and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. Whereas in January 2014, Hadiya Pendleton, a teenager who marched in President Obama's second inaugural parade and was tragically shot and killed just weeks later, and should now be celebrating her 22nd birthday. And whereas to help honor Hadiya and the 100 Americans whose lives are cut short, and the countless survivors who are injured by shootings every day, a national coalition of organizations have designated June 7th, 2019 as the 5th National Gun Violence Awareness Day. And whereas the idea was inspired by a group of Hadiya's friends who asked their classmates to wear orange. They chose this color because the hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when out in the woods, and orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and to do all we can to keep firearms out of the wrong hands and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our children safe. Now therefore be it resolved that I, John A. Lundell, Mayor of the City of Coralville, proclaim the first Friday in June 7th, 2019, as National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Further, I encourage all residents to wear orange to raise awareness about gun violence, honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors, and support efforts to prevent the tragic events of gun violence. Signed and sealed this 28th day of May, 2019. John A. Lundell, Mayor. And I believe we have Tanya English and several of her colleagues here to receive this. And I looked in my wardrobe for orange. I don't have a lot of orange, but I came up with the best I could. So, do a picture? Okay, sure.
Do you want to get in there? You're in orange. All right. I'm official at the top. All right, are we ready? I have 2 cameras too, and we'll snap another one with okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Stay there.
Yeah. That's when she stopped.
There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. My children chant along with me. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go.
You bet, thank you. Please say it if you'd like. So, thank you for that. Oh, good, a bracelet. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
have one.
Yeah.
So you have something. Oh, yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sure.
As a new resident of Coralville in the last 2 years, I'm really proud of being here. I'm going to let Holly speak.
Okay.
Because she does a better job than me.
Just been doing it longer. So we're really, really thrilled that this is the first year that we've done this proclamation with Coralville, and we thank you all.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Here we go.
Probably just a flood warning. Just a flood, yeah.
Just a flood. that's
Everybody's
all.
phone
Keep
goes
going.
Just a flood.
Coralville's covered. but-
Okay.
Anyway, we're
Hopefully
absolutely
it's-
thrilled that Coralville did this. This is the first time that we have had this proclamation read at Coralville. And it means so much to us because, as the proclamation said, we both support Second Amendment rights, but also say that we can have sensible gun legislation that keeps all Americans safer. And that's something all of us should be able to agree on. So on behalf of all of us, and if anybody needs an orange shirt, just come talk to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Holly. Thank you all. Okay, and the third and final proclamation has to do with Pride Month. Whereas the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ+ communities across the nation annually celebrate Pride in their culture and community in the month of June. And whereas the annual celebration of Pride began in the collective protest for the rights of LGBTQ+ individuals and communities. And whereas the annual celebration of Pride began as a collective freedom in expressing gender identity. And whereas the national tradition of celebrating Pride in June is a tribute to the Stonewall riots of June 1969, which are remembered as the launch of the modern LGBTQ+ rights movement. And whereas transgender people of color, including Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, and Stormy Day Lavari, were primary leaders in the Stonewall expression of just treatment for the LGBTQ+ people, and often gave their work and lives to the cause. And whereas the city of Coralville recognizes the many LGBTQ+ lives that continue to be lost each year in the pursuit of living their authentic identities, in particular transgender people of color. And whereas the city of Coralville welcomes and accepts people of diverse sexual orientations, gender identities, and gender expressions, and is proud to celebrate the contributions and culture of these citizens. And whereas each year, Iowa City Pride brings together thousands of LGBTQ+ people from across Iowa and beyond to celebrate their shared identities and experiences. And whereas Iowa City Pride will be celebrating the city's 49th annual Pride Festival and the 50th anniversary of Stonewall on June 10th through the June 16th of 2019. Now therefore, I, John A. Lundell, Mayor of the City of Coralville, Iowa, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2019 to be Pride Month. Signed this May 28th day, 2019. Do we have Christine or Rob or anyone here? All right, there we go. You weren't wearing a particular color, so I couldn't pick you out. Well, would you like to do another photo or anything, or?
We'd love that.
Okay, here, I'll come around then.
I'm just ready, yeah. Might as well. We'll get everybody tonight, right?
Okay.
Okay, you ready? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, 14. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Gotcha.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all, city council members, mayor, members in attendance this evening. This is definitely a very important year for we as LGBTQ plus individuals. The 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots are being celebrated in just a few weeks in New York City. I am super excited to be able to go and be present and participate in that. But we have our very own special celebration here in Iowa City, our 49th year. So as a community and as a state, we've been on the forefront of supporting LGBTQ plus individuals from the beginning. Just 1 year after the Stonewall riots occurred, we celebrated our first Pride here in Iowa City. So thank you on behalf of our entire community, especially our trans people of color. Important to note, especially from my perspective, I'm planning the leather and kink side of Iowa City Pride, but just last night, or actually Sunday evening, the very first trans person of color was named International Mr. Leather in Chicago, a very monumental moment for our trans people of color and our community as a whole. So Christine, I'll turn it over to you.
So yes, thank you for welcoming us here tonight and recognizing that this important week coming up. Just to build on what Rob said, you might have heard today the Supreme Court turned down a case that would have basically prevented transgender people from using the bathroom of their gender identity. And this is probably the first bit of good news on the federal front for about a year or two. It's been a rough couple of years for transgender people and has always been, and has been especially difficult with a whole lot of really hurtful policies. And I've actually witnessed some of my friends struggle with that, especially starting last fall when a lot of these policies started to come out. So that's why this year is especially important, and honoring the 50th anniversary of Stonewall is especially important, because people of color and transgender people of color really were so important to that. It was kind of the start of people standing up for the right to be who they were. And so it's a significant time for all of us, but especially for transgender people of color. And we're just honored to be able to do this every year. So thank you for having us here and for reading the proclamation.
Sure, thank you. I'll just mention, if those, you may have noticed on the front page of today's Iowa City Press Citizen at the bottom, there is an article about efforts have been made in the last couple of weeks to attract a very large conference to this area to hold their national meeting here in the Coralville, Iowa City area, Trans Alliance Group. And I was pleased and proud to be a part of those efforts in the last couple of weeks to meet with those people and convince them that we're a welcoming community, and we would love to have them come and hold their conference in our city. And I think it was very well received. So, thank you. Okay. Now, it's time for citizen comments. This is the time for anyone in the audience that would like to speak to us tonight about an item that's not already on the agenda. And you're all welcome to stay, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. Is there anyone that'd like to speak to us tonight? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to move on then to item 6. Highway 6 and I-80 water main relocation project. This is several items here relating to a project that will relocate 530 feet of 12-inch diameter water main along the north side of Highway 6 where it crosses underneath I-80 for the I-80-380 interchange project. And City Engineer Dan Holderness is going to tell us a little bit more about
Dan's
it.
water mains just didn't pull the people, did it, Dan?
Yeah, basically, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, basically, you kind of described the project as a whole. As part of the larger 380 interchange project, the DOT is widening the existing bridges where I-80 goes over Highway 6, and they're widening to the south. And that requires new piers to be installed, and that was going to be, our water main was in conflict with the location of those piers, and so we have to relocate our water main to get out of their way. So.
Okay, very good. First item is a public hearing on the plan specifications estimate of cost for this project. I will open the public hearing. Are there any comments? Any written?
No written.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing then and consider the resolution. Don?
Resolution approving the plan specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract for the Highway 6 and I-80 water main relocation project, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Gill. Aye. Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes with Goodrich and Gross absent. Item C is a bid report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Quotes were received on this project on May 22nd. We received 3 quotes for the project. The low quote was submitted by Carter & Associates in the amount of $95,216. The engineer's estimate for the project was $104,400. And so we would recommend award to Carter for the amount of $95,216.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Resolution, Doug?
Resolution accepting bids and awarding the construction contract for the Highway 6 and I-80 water main relocation project, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Dodge. Discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes with Gross and Goodrich absent. And one more resolution for this project.
Resolution approving the contract and bond documents for the Highway 6 and I-80 water main relocation project, introduced by Councilmember Dodds, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Discussion? Roll call.
Foster.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution is approved all ayes with Gross and Goodrich absent. Thank you. Item 7 has to do with the Redhawk subdivision. It's a portion of the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of section 24 of the, I'm not even going to read the rest of the legal description. And I'll just turn it over to Jim here for the building, Jim Kessler, our building official, for the building report and P&Z report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a lot easier than what you were trying to do, I assure you.
Okay.
As you remember, you've looked at this piece of land before. This is right north of the Iowa Classification Center. And before we did some land use amendment, this whole thing, whole area was corridor commercial. So we've amended this yellow area here, land use to medium density residential, and then the red or the pink color stayed as corridor commercial. So now is the second step in the development of this property, and that has to do with the rezoning. So the yellow area that was previously land use amended to residential is now being rezoned from R1 to an RPUD2 for future development as a multi-complex residential development. The pink area, the red area that we see is going from R1, which was the zoning classification presently, to a CPUD1, and that will be developed as a multi-lot corridor commercial area. So this was on P&Z the other night and recommended for approval by a 5-1 vote.
Thank you, Jim. Item C is a public hearing on this rezoning. Open the public hearing. Are there any comments? Any written?
No written.
No. Seeing and hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and first consideration of the ordinance.
Ordinance number 2019-1008, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 664, as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of Section 24, Township 80 North, Range 7 west of the 5th Principal Meridian, from R1 Single Family Residential District to RPUD Residential Plan Unit Development District, and did I skip one?
Nope, you got it.
Okay. And R1 Single Family Residential District to CPUD1 Commercial Plan Unit Development 1 District is introduced for adoption, first consideration by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its first consideration, all ayes, with Goodrich and Gross absent. Item 8, licensing of public dance halls. This is the first consideration of an ordinance that will repeal the Coralville Code that requires licensing of public dance halls.
Ordinance number 2019-1006, an ordinance repealing Chapter 129 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coralville, 2011, as previously amended, regarding licensing of public dance halls, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Dodds. Discussion?
This is the Thor Johnson ordinance.
Yes, it is. Anything you want to say?
Just that we found that we don't really need dance hall permits anymore because most of the things covered by it are covered in other parts of the city code. And also, we only have 3 of these permits right now, and 2 are the cities, and 1 is a nonprofit, the American Legion.
So we can do away with it then. Okay, roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
First consideration passes all ayes with Goodrich and Gross absent. I would think at the next council meeting, we might consider collapsing the next 2 readings of this.
Dance for the next 2 weeks.
That's right. We're gonna ram this one through. Item 9 is sanitary sewer rates. This is the first consideration of an ordinance that will change the sanitary sewer rates from a minimum charge of $12.50 to $13.75 per month for usage of from 0 to 200 cubic feet, and from $4 to $4.40 per 100 cubic feet of additional usage, starting July 1st, 2019.
Ordinance number 2019-1007, an ordinance amending Chapter 107 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coralville, 2011, as previously amended, by changing sanitary sewer fees, is introduced for adoption, first consideration by Councilmember Dodds, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Discussion?
Yeah, this was included and discussed during our budget process for fiscal year '20, and this will be able to cover the cost of the upgrades that are being made at the
wastewater plant currently.
Very good. Thank you. Anything else? Roll call.
Foster.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
First consideration passes all ayes with Gross and Goodrich absent. Item 10 is 2019 build grant. This is approving an agreement with HDR Engineering for updating the benefit cost analysis for our 2019 build grant application.
Resolution approving a professional services agreement with HDR Engineering for updating the benefit cost analysis for the 2019 build grant application, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion?
Yeah, this is for a grant that would go towards the reconstruction of the First Avenue Interstate 80 interchange. It's anticipated that the Iowa Department of Transportation will approve putting us on the 5-year road plan June 11th, at their June 11th meeting. They will be approving at that time about $22 million of the $36 million total estimated cost at this point. We had, in our discussions with the DOT staff, had indicated that we will apply for all the grants that are available and have further discussion as the years go by about the cost, or the cover portion that's not covered. So this would go towards being able to move that process forward and finish the funding needed for that project.
Very good. Any other comments? Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Resolution is approved all ayes with Gross and Goodrich absent. Item 11 is Coral Ridge Avenue Improvements Phase 2. This is an amendment for the project completion date extension from June 30th, 2019 to June 30th, 2020 for a grant providing funding for water quality improvements for the Coral Ridge Avenue Improvements Phase 2 project.
Resolution approving an amendment to the Water Quality Initiative cost-sharing contract with Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship for Coral Ridge Avenue improvements, Oakdale Boulevard to Forever Green Road, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Dodds. Discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Resolution is approved all ayes with Gross and Goodrich absent. Item 12 is Veterans Memorial. This is approving an engineering services agreement for construction documents for the Veterans Memorial at Oak Hill Cemetery. And Sherry Proud, our Director of Parks and Rec, may want to say a few words.
This is for a contract to develop the construction documents, like it was in the memo. And the reason we want to do this is we want to get ready for the to make sure that this is it's to scale on the site. And it also will interface with the Oak Hill Cemetery as well as the Iowa Firefighters Memorial, and to take that schematic design that has been developed to that next level. This will allow us to also fulfill some, to get ready. We have some opportunities to have some grants and donations made towards some costs and some grading and putting in footings and foundations and things like that. And this will allow us to be ready. We can take these documents to building and engineering, make sure that everything is going to work really well in the site for us, and be ready to accept those donations.
Sounds good.
Our recommendation, we had two quotes, both of them local companies and very close quotes. And we selected the lower quote of Bolton and Mink to award to, and they are also the ones that developed the master plan for the Russell Slate Boulevard and Oak Hill Cemetery.
Very good. Thank you. Sherry? Don?
Resolution approving an engineering services agreement with Bolton and Mink Inc. for the Veterans Memorial, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Dodds, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Discussion? Roll call.
Foster.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution is approved all ayes with Goodrich and Gross absent. Item 13 is a 2019 Johnson County Countywide Hazard Mitigation Plan. This is a FEMA and state-approved 5-year hazard mitigation plan to improve disaster resistance in Johnson County.
Resolution adopting the 2019 Johnson County Countywide Hazard Mitigation Plan, CHMP, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Aye.
Dodds. Sorry. Foster.
Aye.
Resolution is approved all ayes with Gross and Goodrich absent. Now I consider a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented or amended.
Move to approve the consent calendar, items A through CC inclusive.
Second.
Moved by Gills, seconded by Dodds. Any discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Consent calendar is approved, all ayes, with Gross and Goodrich absent. Item 15 is the city engineer road reconstruction report. Dan Holderness.
I have good news tonight. Tonight's a great night. 'Cause, as of last Friday, May 24th, Langman Construction substantially completed the First Avenue project from 6th to 9th. And so I give kudos to the Langman and their subcontractors. They worked very hard the last month to get everything done with not very good weather to work through, obviously. So they are substantially complete. However, there will be punch list items, like items they need to correct and finish up and clean up in the next few weeks. So you will potentially see single lane closures on non-peak hours on First Avenue to get that work done safely. So, but the good news is it's substantially complete and all lanes are open. So
Looks fantastic.
it's great.
Yeah. It's nice to drive down there Saturday morning leaving town.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good compliments so far already,
Yes,
and so
it's-
we are real appreciative of the contractor and all their efforts to get that done on time.
Yeah,
So.
looks great.
Coleridge Avenue project, work continues a bit slowly because of the weather, but they are working hard to achieve their goal of being substantially complete by the end of June. They had planned later this week, but it's now been pushed back to Monday, June 3rd, to switch traffic to the outer lanes, both the north and southbound on the correct sides of the median, so they can be able to finish the turn lanes in the center and the median in the center. And so the goal now is to, again, switch traffic after 9 a.m. Monday after rush hour Monday morning to move traffic to the outside lanes, and then that work will continue to try to get that completed by the end of June.
Great.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Any questions for Dan? Very good. Thank you, Dan. City Administrator's report.
Yeah, I first would just like to thank all of our engineering staff and the contractor on the First Avenue project, because they've really worked hard at getting the project completed on time by May 24th, and it does look good, and they worked extremely hard considering the weather conditions to get the project done. Since we're getting close to the end of school this week, and we'll also tonight is with our hunger proclamation. Sherry, do you just want to tell everybody again how to participate in the two new programs that'll be a little different this year? So I think it'd be good for everybody to know.
We have two new programs to help families fight food insecurity this year in Coralville. The first one is a summer snacks program. We have several businesses participating with us to provide sandwiches, slices of pizza. We're having a Brugger's Bagel Day, Olive Garden Day, where the kids will get to make salads and spaghetti and meatballs, things like that going on. That's Monday through Friday, 1 to 2:30 p.m. at the Rec Center, and is combined with activities. You don't have to sign up, completely drop in. Any child that is third grade and above can come and attend by themselves. Second grade and below needs to be with a sibling of 12 years of age and older. That's a little bit different than our regular rules. Our regular rules at the rec center is fifth grade and above can be there by themselves. We're relaxing them for this program, that hour and a half time, to make sure that children who are staying at home with siblings can participate in this program. And this is open to children 2 years of age all the way up to 18 years of age. And people can also volunteer with that as well, and they can call us at the rec center. Matt Hibbard's the person in charge of that if they're interested. Actually, Alex Taylor is here. He's one of our, also one of our sponsors, Woofables. We're not going to feed them dog treats. We chuckled a little bit about that, but Woofables is going to be a sponsor and sponsor 3 of our snack days on days when we don't have a business who's providing food. So we also have opportunities like that. If anyone would like to contact me, we can get that set up. So we're really grateful for that. And then the second thing we're doing is called the Lunch Sack. And this is a program partnership with the Coralville Community Food Pantry. And there's 6 times throughout the summer, about every 2 weeks is the schedule. On Wednesdays, I believe it's Wednesdays,
I might have just messed that up. Call us, please.
I think it's Wednesday.
319, is it Wednesday? Okay, we went back and forth between Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But you register for that program. We do need to register. And families are going to be able to pick up food Wednesdays from 2:30 to 6 p.m. at the rec center. And they are bags, we ordered reusable grocery sacks, and they will be full of one-step, two-step, very simple lunch items for children who are staying home and need something that the parents can rely on to have them have food as well. So 2 programs. If they don't want their kids to come down to the rec center until later in the day to participate in things, they can sign up for the lunch sack, and they'll have food that way as well. Registration forms are available online at coralville.org, and I believe the backslash is summer food. They're also available at the rec center, at all of the elementary schools, and at the Coralville Public Library.
Great. Thank you, Sherry.
And thanks, Sherry. And I'd just like to acknowledge that the Coralville American Legion Walter Johnson Post was able to have a Memorial Day ceremony yesterday. Despite the rain, they were in the American Legion. They had a great service. And Councilmember Foster was the speaker yesterday, so it was very good service.
Okay, that it? Okay, Mayor's report. Yeah, I was just going to say thanks to our veterans, since yesterday was Memorial Day, and for all their great service and the families that have supported them. Also wanted to say congratulations to the graduates in the last week, including Councilmember Foster's son. It was a memorable graduation ceremony, to say the least, for West High this year with the storm and at Carver Hawkeye Arena, but just something that made it a little special.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I have is that it's a big day tomorrow in Coralville. It kicks off the summer reading program, one of the extremely popular programs at the Coralville Library, sponsored by our friends Hills Bank, the summer reading program. The theme this year is a universe of stories. So, and that's for all age ranges, from kids through adults can sign up and be a part of it, and I'll be down there getting signed up. So that's my report. City.
5 o'clock to 6:30.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
Sure.
5 to 6:30, Tom says, to sign up tomorrow. I would have been there sooner. City Attorney report.
I'd like to comment on how appropriate your proclamations are, because after riding my bike to work all week, I'm now hunger aware, see, and it works out real
There you
well.
go.
I have nothing more.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay. Committee and council members report. Megan, since you're down there by yourself, we can start with you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Moms Demand Action folks, even though they all left. But I've been following the work of that organization for a couple of years now, and I'm just so impressed with their courage and their tenacity. They have too many accomplishments to list right now, but they have had success all across the country advocating on behalf of legislation that both respects the Second Amendment and provides safety and responsible gun ownership. I've had the honor of working with our local group. I've loved getting to know all of them. They're amazing, they're passionate, they're courageous, and we're really lucky to have them working in our community. So we are hosting an event on June 8th, the Wear Orange event in Iowa City. It starts at 10:30 a.m. and we'll be convening in College Green Park. And there'll be a short program. I'm actually speaking at that program. The theme is community building, so there'll be other community leaders at that event. I'm really honored to be speaking this year, so we really hope to see you there on Saturday, June 8th at 10:30 at College Green Park. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Tom.
Well, you've got the library, the Coralville Volunteer Fire Department, Fire Department Night at Coralville Youth Sports Park. Is that right, Sherry? Yep. And that is June 13th at 4:30 to 8 p.m. The fire department will be there. And then there was another library thing that I had here. If I can, I lost it. And bear with me. There it is. Now this is Megan's. Megan like this. Public event, Coralville Public Library. July 15, July 20th is Doctor Who week at the library.
Is that for adults too,
Well,
or just children?
You'll be there, I know
will be. I will totally be there.
that. So that's all I've got.
Okay.
And the police, I'm sure, will be out with the fire department on the ballpark too. So,
Yep.
so that's all I've got.
Jill.
Thank you, Mayor. We had the Parks and Rec Commission meeting, and we have started the study of electronic bikes.
Oh.
And so our goal with that will be to, make an eventual policy for those on our trails, since we have all of those. So that's pretty exciting. We had Adam Engel from the Johnson County Bicycle Committee come, brought an electric bike. A few people tried it, and it was very educational. Our Woodpecker Single Track Trail grand opening has been rescheduled. The weather was a little harsh on the trail, so I'm not sure if it'll be any better by this one, but we're going to try it again on Thursday, June 6th, with remarks at 5:45, and then after that there'll be an opportunity to either ride or walk the trails. That's what I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jill. In the spirit of electric vehicles, I bought about a month ago an electric lawnmower, and I've used it a lot because its grass grows so fast, and I love it. I love my electric lawnmower.
Does it have a cord?
Nope.
Oh,
battery.
I had one. I
Drove over the cord. Well, with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gill, seconded by Foster. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We're adjourned.